So we knew the Tennessee Titans were going to be bad. But let's be honest, the Titans are bad. Welcome back to another Titan. I'm all tongue-tied, and I have barely even started the video. Welcome back to another Titan Bros video. As you see, Josiah did not join me today because I can't even blame him. And honestly, this will get me into a point of the game that I kind of want to bring up. Josiah didn't join me today because he didn't watch the game. He watched part of it. The reason he didn't watch the whole game and only watched part of it was because the Titans are terrible. The Titans are boring. There is no reason when you're an adult with a busy life to spend 3.5 hours of one of your only days off watching awful football. So guess what? Him and his wife, they went into town, did a little bit of shopping. Can't even blame him. In fact, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't even upset. I never got angry. I never hollered anything embarrassing. It's bad. It is bad out there in Titans land. And the worst place for a fan base to be is in a world of apathy. That would be the best way to put it, in my opinion. In fact, my wife said something that was so true, but also hurt me. She said before the game, because she was asking if I wanted to watch it on my phone or throw it up on the TV. I was like, I'll just watch it on my phone. And she's like, this is the least excited I've ever seen you to watch a Titans game. And I'm like, it's because we are terrible. We are terrible. We already knew that we were going to lose and that we were going to lose badly before Sunday even got here. But I almost feel like, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, I almost feel like it was even worse than we thought. Let's go ahead and get into the game, shall we? Let's get into the game. First of all, the score, obviously, was just disgusting. 52-14 is the biggest blowout we've been a part of in a very long time. Very long time. 52-14. Where do we even start? First of all, in a lot of ways, this game has been exactly like many games we've had this season, where our offense looks okay. We're scoring some points. We're moving the ball a little bit decently in the first half. And then when the second half gets here, done. Just done. And we did that again. 14 points. Should have been 21 or 17. But the pass on the 2-yard line or wherever we were from Brian Callahan was a little sus, if you ask me, especially since we had a timeout in our back pocket. But that's something we'll discuss at a later time. But yeah, so we had 14, should have been 21, at worst 17, but somehow came away with just the 14. Offense, fine in the first half, awful in the second half. Defense is a lot of the same as well, and the fact that usually our first half defense is good and our first half defense is bad. Our defense was awful all day today. Not only was they awful, but it was helped by our special teams. Our special teams is so funny how bad they are. Like, they literally, special teams should never affect games as much as they do. But I don't even remember the stat. They had like 5 drives under 50 yards or 5 drives under 40 yards that scored touchdowns or something like that. It was something insane. And I'm like, how does this even happen? I think Khalif Raymond may have had more return yards than almost our whole offense. Like, it was disgusting. Disgusting what that ended up being. Or how about this? Total yards. We had 416 total yards. The Lions only had 225. 225. We had 258 passing yards to their 61 passing yards. We had 158 to their 164 rushing yards, so that was about the same. Yards per play, we were 5.9. They were only 4.8. We had more first downs. We scored 23 first downs. Not scored, but we had 23 first downs that are 17. Both teams are bad on third downs, but like, in fact, we only allowed 1 sack. They allowed 4 sacks. Like, if you're looking at all this, you'd have thought we'd won. You'd have thought we'd won. Did I word that correctly? But yeah, with the stats that I'm looking at here, time of possession, we had 35 minutes, 37 seconds compared to their 24-23. Everything points the Titans should have won this game if you're looking at the box score stats, until you go all the way up to the top where it says Tennessee Titans 14, the Lions 52. And there's 2 big things that literally lost us our first game, lost us our second game. Third game we were never really in, but it's turnovers and it's special teams. So special teams, how can it be that bad? How can your special teams be that bad? It's bad. Jaquan Jackson, he's average in my opinion. Some people say, oh, he's technically average. He's like top 10 in average punting yards. That must be well blocked because he just gets the ball and usually just runs to the closest person he can find and gets tackled immediately. But then even he had fumbled today. We cannot create plays. In fact, we create negative plays when they punt or kick it to us. And we allow so many big punts, so many big kickoffs. It's unreal. Touchdowns. We allowed a touchdown today. Colt Anderson might want to start looking for apartments in Detroit because they may not let him on the plane. Guess we'll have to see. But that was just shameful. So shameful. It's embarrassing, really, is what it was. So that's all I gotta say about the special teams. I'm not one to be like, oh, fire this person, fire that person. Colt Anderson needs to be gone. He needs to be gone before the season's over to like prove a point and show the organization, hey, guess what? If you suck, you're out of here. But at the very least, he better be fired at the end of the season. It's just awful. Just awful. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the offense. I guess I already talked about the offense. We just sputter or do decent the first half, sputter out, fizzle out in the second half. It's terrible. Defense was terrible this game. So now I'm going to start going to some actual individuals, some individual performances. The first thing I want to talk about is Mason Rudolph. There are a lot of people, some just random casual fans, some really into it fans, some even content creators that were like, Will Levis is terrible. He is so bad. He is so reckless with the football. He's the reason we're losing all these games. Put in Mason Rudolph. He gives us such a better chance to win. Hopefully, you now understand, has Will Levis been good? No, Will Levis is bad. I don't think Will Levis is good either. But don't come at me acting like Mason Rudolph is the answer, because he clearly is not. And that almost makes you wonder if it's a Callahan thing, because not only was Levis, or not Willis or Levis, I'm just saying quarterback names that, was supposed to be something for us. Rudolph. Not only was Rudolph throwing picks, but he's doing the thing where he's getting sacked. And as he's getting sacked, just throwing it to for a pick. Like, and he almost threw a pick that way last week as well, where I'm like, Rudolph, what are you doing? The reason we're supposed to like you being in more than Will Levis is you're not supposed to be making those stupid mistakes. But alas, here we are. So that's just insane to me. So yeah, I'm not convinced Levis is any worse than Rudolph. I think they're basically the same. So at least make it act like you're trying to evaluate your young quarterback and put Will Levis in for the rest of the season. Now, obviously, Will Levis didn't get benched, even though for some reason Pro Football Talk, I think, said that Will Levis had a soft benching, is what they said. I'm like, no, that's fake news. That is not a benching. His shoulder got re-aggravated because he should not have played against the Colts. That's why he's out right now. But anyway, so once Levis gets healthy, he needs to go back in, because if you're going to have such horrible turnover-prone quarterback play, you might as well do it with the guy that you're supposedly evaluating, as opposed to an almost 30-year-old backup veteran on a one-year deal that doesn't do anything for us. All right, so, yeah, Will Levis, Mason Rudolph, doesn't matter, we're bad. I'll put in, before we move to the other side of the ball, I'll put in some positivity, because heaven knows we need a little Tennessee Titans positivity in our life. Tony Pollard's still been really good. He had 20 carries for 94 yards with a 4.7 average, which is good. He also had 3 more catches for 23 yards. That's all fantastic stuff. Tony Pollard's been worth the money, which is good, because Mr. Tajay Spears is very, very, very injury prone in his second year. I think he's been out. He's missed 2 or 3 games with separate injuries. So that's never good. Also, and Julius Chestnut kind of ran the ball as well. But the main one I wanted to talk about, which this guy got hurt. I hope he's okay, because he got hurt in I think our last or second to last series there. Calvin Ridley exploded. And I think he's had this in him the whole time. Has he had the dropsies? Yes, he has. But he's had this playmaking potential in him the whole time. His stat line is 10 receptions for 143 yards, and then he had a carry for 3, which that wasn't really worth mentioning. But 143 yards, 10 catches. That's what we paid him $23 million a year to do. It was beautiful to see, and this is something I've thought that Vrabel said he didn't want to do, and Brian Callahan has said he didn't want to do, and I disagree with both of them. They both say, oh, you don't just force feed playmakers the ball, because then you start forcing balls in there that shouldn't be forced, or you get easy to defend against because you just force feeding the ball to these playmakers. I say I disagree. Just like at the beginning of this game, I think he had 6 catches. Calvin Ridley had 6 catches in the first quarter. We just force fed him the ball. It's like, is he open? Maybe. It's one-on-one coverage. He's a playmaker. We're paying him like a top high-end wide receiver, and we force the ball to him. That was beautiful. I liked it. And you see what happened? Do you see what happened? You got Ridley going early, had the best passing game-ish of a half that we've had all season, and you love to see it. You love to see it a whole lot. So that's good, because I'll be honest with you, I was starting to lose like a little bit of faith in Calvin Ridley, because not only has he had the dropsies real bad this year, but he's also just not, for $23 million a year, he's just a catch this game. Maybe he'll get 3 catches for 30 yards there. Just like that, anybody can do that. Nick Westbrook-Akina can absolutely do that, which he's continuing to be Mr. Reliable. 3 games, 3 touchdowns ever since Burks went out, or since receivers started going in and out. But anyways, so that's all nice, I guess, if I'm trying to be positive. Also, one more thing I forgot to say about the whole Mason Rudolph thing. He's played 3 games now, even though he scored the most points by an offense for us with 31 against the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. He's also counted as our 2 lowest scoring games. Well, kind of. He had the lowest with 10 last week, and then he was 14 this week, but I guess technically Will Levis had a game where he also scored only 14 points, but then all Will Levis's other games, he was 17 every single time. But anyways, let's move on over to the defense. The defense looked awful, and that would hurt me. That's what hurt me. It sounds so dramatic, but that's what I kind of didn't like the most about this game, because technically it's going to sound terrible when you score 14 points. I wasn't that upset with their offense, because again, Pollard looked really good. Calvin Ridley looked really good. Our offensive line did not derail this whole game plan. So I was content with offense. I was content with it for the most part. If nothing else, they kind of did what you expect them to do and score 14 points. But our number one ranked defense, allowing 52 points. Like, I'm aware our special teams put you in horrible positions, terrible positions even. You got to make a stop. You got to make some of these stops. That was terrible. That was so bad. Because, like, the Bears, we gave them a lot of really good field position, but the defense kept holding them to field goals. They would, get a pick and only need 30 yards to go, and we would stop them, and they kick a field goal. Defense kept us in the game. Our defense made no effort to keep us in this game, and I know we just traded away Ernest Jones, but there's no way you're telling me Ernest Jones was the difference between allowing 51 points and allowing 20 or 24, however many we usually do. So that part was very, very, very disheartening to me. We could not stop a nosebleed. And I'm fully aware the Lions just drop points all over people. And I also know that the Lions love to run the scoreboard up. That's another conversation for a different day. They love running the scoreboard up. They don't even care. Like Jared Goff was hurt and limping, and they were up by like 25 points, and he was still throwing the ball around trying to score, which that was questionable. But they ended up making the right decision and pulling him for Hendon Hooker. But that defense is just so bad. I was ready to say underwhelming, but underwhelming would be if we allowed 33 points. Allowing 52, that's horrendous. Just terrible. All right. Trying to think of what else I want to say. Because the Titans were bad. The Titans were absolutely bad today. Not just that, but the Patriots just had a nice little upset dub today against the Jets, who the Jets ended up being absolute trash as well. So we got a big matchup with them at home next week. And when I say big matchup, I mean not I want to win. It's more like this is really a good chance for us to lose this game and really put us picking number 1 in the draft overall. Maybe that's not what we want. Maybe it is. We're going to take a quick break. I might not even get this countdown all the way down to 0. We're going to take a quick break here. Let me think of some closing thoughts. Well, let's go ahead and conclude this bad boy, shall we? So, one more player I forgot to shout out. Arden Key came to play. Not only did he get 2 sacks, but he also had pressures, hurries, whatever else. So that was nice to see. Good job, Arden Key, for stepping up. But to what ends? Is that even for us? Did that sentence make sense? Like, what does it even help that who's somebody who I'm hoping is our backup edge rusher next year had a good game, but, did want to shout him out because he did have 2 sacks today and just all around played pretty solid, which is good because someone needs to step up. Obviously, I didn't make a video. I made a short, but I didn't make a live stream. Me or my brother didn't, about the trades of DeAndre Hopkins, who's currently, as we speak, playing for the Chiefs. I also didn't make a video about the Ernest Jones trade, which we hosed the Seahawks. Think about it. The Seahawks could have gotten Ernest Jones for a 5th and 6th. Well, I guess they couldn't because they're in the same division. So as I said, they could have gotten Ernest Jones for a 5th, 6th round swap in 2026, but they couldn't have because they wouldn't have done that with someone in their division. But that's all we had to do. Trade away a 5th, get a 6th and Ernest Jones. And then this year we just let him play 6 games, and then we trade him for a 4th and a starting level linebacker in Jerome Baker. We hosed him. There. I don't know why, because Jerome Baker is really not that bad, so I don't know why they were willing to trade him and a 4th for a little bit of an upgrade at linebacker. So that was a very odd move by the Seahawks, but nice job there, Ran Carthon. What you need to do some nice things because, let's be honest, your Heine ought to be getting a little bit hot because it's looking tough for you, homie. Looking tough. All right. Other trade targets. Not who we're trading for, but who we're trading away. There are some people I've seen folks say trade Nick Folk. I don't really understand what the point of that is. It's not like we have a young, unless we went back after Braden Arvison, we don't really have a young kicker that we're in the middle of coaching, grooming. That's the word I was looking for, grooming. So I don't know. I don't know about all that. I've seen people say Harold Landry or Arden Key. Arden Key I'd be okay with because he did have a nice game today, like I said. So that could really up his value. Maybe we get like a sixth. Maybe we could really sweet talk somebody who's desperate, like the Lions who just saw him get those 2 sacks. Maybe get a fifth from him. That'd be great. Now here's one that might be a little bit controversial, but a lot of people want Landry traded. And I don't want that unless you can get a second round pick for him. If you get a second round pick for Landry, I'm all about it because that's a nice pick. Second round, I'll take it. But if we trade him away and pass rush is one of our bottom 3, or I guess one of our top 3 biggest needs going into next year with Landry, if we trade him away, suddenly, even more so than quarterback or right tackle, you could almost say edge rush. Because if we're walking into next season with Jalen Harrell and Arden Key as our edge rushers, that suddenly becomes the biggest glaring hole on our roster. And that second round pick isn't necessarily going to fix that. Maybe it'll fix one of the 2 edge rushers. But yeah, so like if we just trade Harold Landry away for a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick especially, don't think I'm going to be too happy about that. Now, we'll say a conversation we can have in the off season. There's a team that wants to give us a 1st round pick for Jeffrey Simmons. I think we need to do it. He did get him a sack today, so good job there. But I think he has made more stupid penalty and mistakes than he's made big plays this year. And that's a huge problem, especially when you're supposed to be the leader of the defense. That is a huge, huge problem. So, sorry, my brother just messaged me. He's mad about his fantasy football team because his running back only got 11 carries. It's Derrick Henry. But anyways, so Jeffrey Simmons, I think after the season we should consider trading him. Landry, I don't think we should. Key, I would be okay with Key. Because again, until today, he's honestly had a very poor season. Very poor season, in my opinion. Mostly just been a ghost out there. Another one I'm okay with if we decided to trade Quandre Diggs, because he's just a 1-year deal, I'd say trade him. Another one, this sounds dumb. It sounds so dumb, but I'll say it anyway. I think we should either trade or extend Dylan Radins, because if we trade him, he's actually playing pretty good right guard play right now. He's actually playing pretty good, at least league average right guard play. So you could trade him probably for a 5th round pick. I like that. Or extend him for cheap. Like if he wants to take like a 2-year, $14 million deal, so $7-ish million a year, I think that would be a good idea. So one of those 2 things, letting him just play out this year and then walk, probably doesn't need to happen. Is there anybody else we should trade? I say no to Hooker. Keep Hooker. Obviously, the people we just signed to multi-year deals can't really be traded because the money would never make sense. So that would be like Ridley. I said Ridgely and then Ridley. There we go. That would be Ridley. That would be Sneed. That would be Cushenberry. Like these people, because they just got signed, there's with the money, it wouldn't make sense. You just wouldn't be able to really trade them unless you're just eating all kinds of money. So you're basically trading them just to trade them. So plus, I'm not really for trading any of those people away. Anyway, so I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days because obviously we just got demolished, and Tuesdays are big days for trades. So we just got demolished again on Tuesday. Obviously, our season is, if there was any doubt whether it's shot or not, it is officially 100% shot. So that being said, we may start trading more people. I hate to say this out loud, but I really am kind of feeling like I want us to lose out. Can't believe I'm saying that. I don't know if I've ever said that about a season. But we could win out. Well, never mind. I was going to say we could win out and we're not making the playoffs. We could win out and we'd be 11-6, but obviously that's not going to happen. All I'm going to say is hang in there. If you look at some of the best of the best of the best of the best teams, they're terrible. They're getting high draft picks. And as soon as they find their quarterback, 'Cause sadly, so many times that's what it's all about. As soon as they find their quarterback, they're relevant. A la the Bengals, a la the Bills. Chiefs were a little different, but even the Chiefs saw the guy they wanted. They went aggressive, went and got him, and now look at him. So maybe there's hope. Maybe there's a bright future. Regardless, stick with us. It'll be all right. The sun will shine again, I think. Maybe. We'll see. But make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. And commenting on the videos, too. Because if you comment on the videos, I love interacting with the comments down below. So whether it's on the live stream or once it's uploaded afterwards. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. So peace out. Tighten up, I guess. And all that jazz.